Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by MyLatorre. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show, to the Blogger Genius. First off, I just launched my own personal Instagram account. I've been on Instagram for years and years, and now I'm finally putting myself out there. So if you would follow me at Jillian Tober Leslie, that's Jillian Tober, Tohber, Leslie, Leslie. You'll get to see what my life is like as an entrepreneur, as a mother, living in Austin. And if you follow me and DM me, I will happily follow you back. Okay, today's show, very excited about this. I've got my friend Monica Froese back on the show. She is sharing all things promoted pins. What's cool about this episode is not only has Monica created a promoted pins course, and we talk about why it makes sense today to pay to promote your content on Pinterest, but we break it down and she shares how she promotes her course using the power of Pinterest and also Facebook. So you will get some behind the scenes strategy on how you can sell and promote stuff using paid marketing. I think you're going to really like this episode. Without further ado, here is my friend, Monica Froese. Monica, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, so last time we talked, and I will, of course, link to our previous episode. I think I split it into two parts because it was so meaty and so good. And it was about a year ago. So really, welcome back.
Yeah, we were just talking before we recorded that it was two parts. And I actually got a ton of people that reached out to me after, because we recorded right after I had a baby. So
yes.
It was an interesting interview.
Yes, but yeah, you couldn't tell. I mean, you were just so helpful, and I don't know, I love the way you think. I really do.
Thank you.
So in this last year, you have created a course about Pinterest ads.
Yes. Well, actually, so the course was created right before I had the baby. So I did a beta for it at the end of 2017 when I was entering my third trimester, and I was actually really resistant to doing it, which is the funny part in hindsight. I had a few of my blogging friends realize that I was running Pinterest ads and I was seeing success with it, and they had a lot of questions, and I was answering the same question over and over again. And a few of them said, "You really need to create a course on this." And I was like, "You are nuts. I'm about to have a baby. I'm going into nesting. I'm shutting down." I had no desire to create another course. But of course, the bug was it was put into my head. So I have a very hard time ignoring things like that. So right. I said, okay, I'm going to do a beta course. And I let 20 people in, and within an hour, the 20 slots sold out. And I was like, all right.
Wow.
So I created it within 5 weeks over Christmas, because I was like, okay, I have to be wrapped up and ready to close down by the end of January so I can prepare for the baby. So I said, okay, I'm going to create it with this beta group for 5 weeks. And then I did what I would call probably my first big launch in January of 2018. And what I didn't realize at the time, which for me, it was a very successful launch. I mean, I never would have anticipated having a launch that even made slightly over $10,000. And I was blown away. I charged $147, I think, when it went public the first time.
Okay.
And what happened was I did close down pretty much. I closed my calendar. I put my emails on autopilot. I think I scheduled like 8 weeks out. And I kept getting Facebook messages from pretty big bloggers and influencers saying, "I heard about your course and I want to get in, but it's closed. Can you do something?" Or, I heard you just had a baby, but is there something you can do to let me in your course? And I was sort of scratching my head on maternity leave thinking, okay, maybe I should do something. So my husband said, why don't you just open it up for a couple days, real low key, and just say, hey, I'm still off, still taking care of the baby, but it's open if you want to get in. And there was a huge response to that what I thought was going to be a small cart opening. And it just took a life of its own since then. And now that Pinterest is officially a publicly traded company, there is a even higher renewed interest in running Pinterest ads. So it's just kind of taken on a life of its own and really became, I still had many different courses I was really focused on when I first created this, but now it's like the course that I'm focused on.
Oh, that's so cool. So you saw the need, you built the product, and it worked.
Even though I was resistant. Yes.
Even though you were resistant and you had a baby
Yeah.
in the middle of it. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's dive in to Pinterest ads. And can you give me an overview of why you think there is an opportunity today advertising on Pinterest versus, say, Facebook, Instagram, that kind of thing, or how you think about these different platforms in terms of advertising?
Yeah. So I think that they're very different and serve very different purposes and often can be used in conjunction with each other. Like I use them in conjunction with each other. So the first thing is when you're thinking about Pinterest ads, which is synonymous with promoted pins, just so no one gets confused. Promoted pins is what Pinterest calls them.
Right.
It's Pinterest ads. That's the same thing.
Right.
So the first thing you have to do is think, is my demographic even on Pinterest? Because that, if you can't answer that question, or if you don't know, you have to figure that out first. Pinterest is very heavily dominated on the female side of things at this point. The majority of users are in the US. They're millennials, they're moms. So, I mean, if your target demographic is older men, probably they're not there. They're not on Pinterest, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing you have to know. And then it's important to understand the difference between Pinterest and Facebook, which Pinterest is a visual search engine and Facebook and Instagram are social media sites. Right. So the way the ads are served are just completely different. On Facebook and Instagram, you don't open the app hoping to be served an ad about wedding planning. But if you are actively wedding planning in your life, you most likely will be served an ad about it because Facebook and Instagram just know so much about you, and their targeting and retargeting options for businesses are, I mean, it's like the best out there.
Right. Bar
they
none.
just know, they just know so much about you. But Pinterest, you open the app with a problem in mind, and you're proactively searching for the solution. So they're two totally different ways that you're using it. Right. And on Pinterest, the users are really in that different mindset, which I call the buyer's mindset.
Definitely. Very much like Google, meaning you go to Google not because you're just bored. You go to Google because you have a question and you want it solved.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what makes it so different. And one of the things, so when Pinterest went public, they filed every company that wants to go public, they have to file an S1 filing with the Security and Exchange Commission. And it's basically a very in-depth view of where the company stands, where they're going, their financials, all this fun stuff. It was 184 pages and I read it all. So
okay, good.
I got a lot out of it. And I distilled it down to like 2,500 words in a blog post just because there was
Okay, we'll link to that.
Yeah, I've gotten really great feedback on it because I really did. I feel like I broke it down quite well. But one of the things that they said in there that actually made me chuckle to myself was that their advertising, so the way that ads are served on their platform is native. And what they were saying was that ads blend into the Pinterest user experience. And they said, this is the part that made me chuckle, their ads are less annoying. That's what Pinterest says about their ads.
That's funny. Yes. Right. So, it's part of the experience.
Exactly. And that's what they hope to continue to differentiate themselves from Facebook and Instagram. Now, I will say this. I'm definitely a realist when it comes to, especially when a company goes public. I worked for a Fortune 100 for the first 11 years of my career. So I'm actually more conditioned to understand, I feel, a publicly traded company than a privately held company. Mm-hmm. And the reality of this is Facebook serves us ads in so many different ways because that's how they make money. That's their revenue. And the same is true for Pinterest. They actually highlight it several times in their filing that their only revenue stream are promoted pins. And so chances are ads on their platform are going to get a little bit more annoying because they have to figure out different ways to serve it so that they're upping their revenue. That's just the reality of the situation.
Right. And now they have to report revenue 4 times a year.
Right.
So therefore, and they need to look like, continue to grow.
So
I totally get that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say their initial offering, they did really well in comparison to some of the other tech companies that were going public at the same time. So especially if they want to keep those favorable stock prices,
absolutely,
their first couple quarterly filings are going to be super important.
Totally. Okay, so let's say I sell a product. How good are promoted pins for helping me increase sales? Like, will this work? I let's say I sell invitations, or I sell stationery, right? How can promoted pins help me? I pin a lot. Let's say I pin all of my products. I'm in there. I'm repinning, that kind of thing. What is your thought about this?
I have a lot of thoughts about this.
Okay.
So I always say that an ad on any platform, any ad, whether it's on Pinterest or not, does not solve a broken system or a broken funnel. So if your product hasn't sold organically, throwing ad spend behind it isn't going to change that.
I like that.
And I really do think it's important to make sure the product sells from the platform you're going to promote it on. So
got it.
If you can't get any sales from Pinterest organically, I probably wouldn't dive right into ads.
Right, you'd work on my product, fixing the product.
Yeah, okay. Or at least how you get people to the product. You know, maybe it's just you're I think a lot of people jump right to here's the sale before nurturing any of their customers. It's just such a journey that you want to go on first to figure out who is, because you want to promote to the right type of keywords, what are people even searching that makes them care about your solution, which is your product. And so there's a lot of groundwork I think you have to put in first if you're going to jump right into selling a product through ads.
Okay.
But one of the ways that I teach Pinterest ads is actually goes completely against the grain too. So I say that I think that you have to prove it organically first, but also I think once you prove it organically, you can do something that most marketers would not tell you, which is that you can sell directly to a cold audience on Pinterest.
Interesting. Okay, explain first of all, what is a cold audience versus a warm audience? And then what do you mean by that? So
a cold audience is an audience that does not have any familiarity with you. So they haven't interacted with you in the past. And a warm audience had some sort of interaction, whether they were on your website before or they're on your email list, or they engaged with your, in Pinterest language, your pin, right? So it's they've seen your pin, they've clicked it, or they've saved it, something like that.
And you can think warm fuzzies.
Warm fuzzies, yes.
Okay.
So most people are going to tell you, most marketers that teach advertising are going to tell you to target only a warm audience, or that a warm audience is going to convert better when it comes to directing someone to a sales page or directing someone direct to a product.
Right, because they know you, they like you, they trust you.
Right, and I think on Facebook, that's where, because their retargeting is so good, I think Facebook definitely excels there. But with Pinterest, essentially because people come to Pinterest in this active mindset looking for a solution to their problem, they are more likely to buy cold from a sales page or product page than they would be if they were served the same ad on Facebook.
So if the solution is there, regardless of whether you know this brand or not, you're more willing to open up your pocketbook.
Correct. And Pinterest has a lot of studies that they've done with this that they did call out in their S1 filing, which I mentioned in that blog post, because they really, their whole spin on this, really for investors too, to get people to invest into the brand, is that they're unique in the sense that they have people who are ready to buy. It's a unique user journey, basically.
Right. I get that. In fact, I learned this, I think I had discussed this in a previous podcast, which is we monetize Catch My Party with ads. And it turns out that audiences that come to Catch My Party via Google versus social media are more valuable, because if you come from Google, you're much more likely having a problem and looking for a solution than you are just casually coming via social media.
So I think that hitting that point is that Facebook I view as a way to close a sale.
Okay.
Like when you're, especially for higher ticketed items, right? It's like that last interaction to remind them, hey, you should take action on this. But you really, what you're trying to sell really it required a lot of touch points.
Yep.
Most like when I sell my course, for example, I don't try to close my course sales through Pinterest. It will not work. It costs too much money. They need more touch points with me. I will try to close the sale through a Facebook ad to a warm retargeted audience.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's definitely.
Well, here's the thing that we should talk about. You get somebody on Pinterest to see your course, to go to your website, then that person can be retargeted on Facebook.
Right. So that's one of the things I do. It's a little, sometimes I lose people when I talk about this, but the high level is both Pinterest and Facebook run off of cookies, right? So the Facebook pixel you install, it tracks visitors on your site. The Pinterest tag is the same thing as a Facebook pixel, but for Pinterest. And both tags are reading your visitors no matter where they came from. If they came from Google, they came from Pinterest, they came from Facebook. So those tags feed each other. You can drive Pinterest traffic and feed your Facebook pixel for the close.
Right.
You can look at it like that.
Right.
I would definitely say that cold traffic converting on Pinterest is a lower price point that you're probably dealing with here. I'm not.
Okay.
If you're selling $1,000 product, you're not going to close that cold. Like, we can be realistic about that. But I do think
I just want to translate. Okay, so I sell $1,000 product. Somebody needs a solution. They're on Pinterest. They see my solution, but chances are they're not going to click on my one pin and take out their credit card and buy my $1,000 product. Not going to happen, is what you're saying.
Most likely not. So what I do in this case, I coined it my TripleDip funnel.
Okay.
So I was running into this conundrum where I was driving a ton of traffic to sales pages with Pinterest, and I was putting ad money behind it, and I was making back the ad money. I was making money on the ad. So I knew that the cold traffic was converting on the sales page, but I also recognized the conversion rate wasn't where I wanted to be. So I started thinking, what can I do to still capture, when they land on a sales page, still capture something from them to be able to nurture them further. So when I promote cold to a sales page, at the very end, I have a mention that says some hook, like if you're not ready to buy or you're not ready to take whatever action I'm asking you to take, whatever the problem is that I'm solving with the product, I offer a freebie for you to opt into my email list. And when you opt into my email list, one of two things are going to happen. One, you're going to get offered a tripwire price on the same product or a downsell for that product. And I'm now going to get your email address, and you better bet I'm going to nurture you to close on the original product that you landed on.
That's terrific. Wow. Okay. Can we unpack this?
Yeah.
So let's go through this step by step, because I think this is really brilliant. Okay,
Sure.
So I'm going to say it back to you. You tell me if this is correct.
Okay.
Which is, what you do is you run an ad on Pinterest, and you're not assuming that that person is, again, going to click and buy. Now, what you found is your ads made sense on Pinterest, meaning you were making back what you were spending, or even making a little bit more money. So you spend $5, let's say you make $7. Right. So it's covering your costs with maybe a little extra, but you're like, you know what? I could probably get more sales. There's a lot of work to put in for only a $2 return on $5. So what you do is you send them when they click on your ad on Pinterest, they're going to a sales page. And if in fact they're not ready to buy, they can get a freebie, and then you've got their email address, and then you're sending them an email that says, hey, if that was too expensive, I've got a special offer. It will expire in like 24 hours. I don't know how you do it, but you can get it for, who knows, a cheaper price. Or if you're not ready to buy that, you can buy this other product that's cheaper, but that will kind of help you along the way. And if you're not ready for that, that's fine, because I'm going to then start sending you emails.
Correct. Nurture emails.
Nurture emails. And how long is that nurture sequence?
It always depends, for me at least, on the price point of the product, and just a lot of trial and error, honestly, with how I track each of my emails individually to see fall off rates with unsubscribes, click-through rates, open rates, so I can tell in my funnels, like, okay, by the time they get to like the fourth email, they've significantly dropped off with open rate. So I definitely want to hit them with the offer in the second email maybe. So I experiment
That's
a lot
great.
with
And
that.
how many of these funnels have you set up? How many different products are you selling? How many funnels do you have for each product? That kind of thing.
Dozens. So a lot of Pinterest, a lot, because it's very heavy e-commerce focused.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about $1,000 products. I do think marketers are very, like, when they see stuff on Facebook, I do feel often that marketers get served other marketers' ads and they're for higher priced products, right? And the same is just not true on Pinterest. There are a lot smaller dollar amounts that we're dealing with.
The actual products, okay.
The actual products, yes, are smaller dollar amounts. And I have, I couldn't even tell you exactly how many funnels I have set up, but a lot of the funnels that I run these tests on are smaller dollar products, like $49 or under.
Okay.
And then what I do when it comes to nurturing for a larger or a higher price product is I focus on sending, and I believe this is one of the things that we are going to talk about, is I'm a huge proponent on using Pinterest ads to build my email list.
Okay.
So building your email list on Pinterest is really where I even started with Pinterest ads. I recognized pretty early on that people take action from Pinterest. And so I wanted to really fuel my email list early on and focus on that.
Okay.
And
first, before we just, I have one question before I forget it, which is, so what are your highest priced products? Like, how high is your most expensive product?
Right now it's the Pin Practical Promotions, which is the Pinterest ads course.
Okay.
And that's $497.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So so I just needed to know what the range was. So you're looking at products that might be $49 or something close to $500.
Yes. And
okay. So yeah.
A lot of the cold sales pages I drive to will be $49 or less. And then the Tripwire will be anywhere from like $7 to $27.
Explain that. Say that again.
Okay, so after they're on the sales page,
right,
if they decide not to buy,
this is the sales page for the $497 course or for something smaller?
Something smaller. I do not use that funnel on the big sales pages. So if it's a $500 product, I'm not offering a freebie at the end, and that is a much different strategy for me. I focus much heavier on getting them in my funnel through Pinterest.
Okay. Got it.
And then I nurture them not direct to a sales page with an ad when it's a higher price product. Okay. So this is really like lower e-commerce.
Got it. Okay. Level. So you've got so go back. So you've got, let's say, this $49 product.
Okay, yeah. So you'll land on the sales page. If you get to the freebie, you take the freebie, I will redirect you to a Tripwire page, and I'll offer it for $19 for 20 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. That's great. Okay.
And what I was finding was when I drove cold traffic to a sales page for a product in that range, like below $100, let's say, if it's below $100, I was seeing a decent conversion rate for cold traffic, like up to 10%, which is a very decent conversion rate.
That's great. Yes.
But when I added the Tripwire on, I was getting conversion rates for some of the funnels over 70%.
Oh my gosh.
When I realized I was onto something.
That is incredible. Incredible. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very high conversion rates on the Tripwire. So I teach about Tripwires. I could talk about them forever. I just love Tripwires. I think they're a very easy way to fuel getting people to buy from you right away, and it makes it so much easier down the road. So one of the funnels I have is a 101 ebook on promoted pins. It's $49. Right. When I run all of I'm very big on data. So when I run all of the statistics for who buys the promoted pins course for $497, 80% of them had bought the 101 ebook.
Wow.
So I get their attention, I get their know, like, trust factor. They see the ebook, they get value from the ebook, they take action on their first ad, and then they're like, I want the next level, which is the course.
That's amazing. Are you a blogger or entrepreneur who loves their business, but is also a little overwhelmed with all that you have to do in a day? So I want to share a tool that will increase your social media followers, grow your email list, build your traffic, all without you having to do anything, it's called MyLatorre. So MyLatorre is a pop-up app that my husband David built for our first site, Catch My Party. In the 4 years that we've been using the MyLatorre app on Catch My Party, our Pinterest account has grown exponentially to over 1 million followers, and our Instagram has grown to over 160,000 followers, and both of these sites drive millions of page views to Catch My Party every single month. MyLatorre works to grow followers on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. It will grow your sales for your Shopify or Etsy stores, and it will even grow your email list. MyLatorre, it's easy to use. It can be installed on your site in under 3 minutes. It won't slow your site down, and it's even Google friendly. The MyLatorre app is also customizable. You can focus on growing one platform at a time or switch between several. We also provide analytics. Right now, you can get your first 30 days for free. Just go to MyLatorre.com to sign up for your free trial today. There's really no risk. If you aren't converting readers into followers, subscribers, and customers, you need to change your strategy. Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep having the same results. Well, MyLatorre will get you the results you need, but it can't help you unless you add it to your site now. So take the first step. Head over to MyLatorre.com and start your free 30-day trial right now. There are no contracts. You can cancel anytime. And as a bonus, once you sign up, I'll send you valuable business tips each week to help you continue to grow your business. Look, you can't be everywhere all the time. So let MyLatorre work for you. It's fast, it's easy, and it gets results. So what are you waiting for? Get your free trial today. Go to MyLatorre.com. Now, talk about getting email subscribers on Pinterest. What is your strategy for that?
Okay, so I actually still try very hard to always have a tripwire behind building my email list. So a lot of people will send Pinterest traffic. This is going to go a little bit against, I think, how people view Pinterest. So Pinterest is a content marketing machine, right? I mean, it's content driven. So a lot of blog posts exist on Pinterest, and the top 10 tips about X, and then you might have an opt-in at the end of that post, and you hope people are going to opt in.
Yep.
Well, I am probably, this is part of my control freak ways. I always want to control the relationship. And to do that, I would scratch my head and think, how do I get more people to opt into my list? I don't want to just wait until the end of the blog post. And also, when you're on a lot of these blogs, if you'll notice, there's a subscriber bar in the header, and there'll be a sidebar. And a lot of times the opt-ins that are being offered on the site are very different than what the actual topic of the blog post is, because the same header shows up and the same sidebar shows up. Right. And that's confusing. And when you confuse someone that doesn't know you and they're on your site for 30 seconds,
they'll do nothing.
Exactly. So I decided that I'm going to just cut to the chase. And I started creating opt-ins that I could drive direct to a landing page, just a simple opt-in page. And that's what I usually promote. So I do organically still absolutely drive traffic organically on Pinterest to my blog posts. But when it comes to my ads, I'm very prescriptive, and I drive 90% of my list building ads through a landing page opt-in, where the whole purpose is I'm going to give you X and you're going to give me your email for it.
I love that. So I love that because, again, people don't want to think. They don't want to make decisions. They don't want lots of choices. Tell people what to do. Exactly. And then they do it. Okay, so give me an example of your most successful ad that you're running on Pinterest that gives you email subscribers. Like, what are you offering? What does the ad say? What are you offering? And how does that work?
Oh gosh, I've run so many, but I would say probably my most successful ones, and the ones that I see students be most successful with, are, so Pinterest is very seasonal, right? So because it's a search engine, people come and search seasonal topics. So holidays, budgeting gets real popular in the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Goal setting gets very popular.
Right. Fitness, weight loss.
Exactly.
Yep.
So the best ads are when you're capitalizing on trends on Pinterest.
Yep.
So the best ad that I have personally run that probably was the cheapest email subscribers was I have a goal planning opt-in for moms.
Okay.
And when I run that starting in early December, and I usually let it ride until mid-February, I was driving email subscribers under 30 cents.
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very reasonable. And I can get very complicated with funnels, but I'm very intentional once they get onto my email list. So
here's one question, which is you're getting emails by providing moms with goal setting, but are these moms who will be buying your Pinterest course?
So that's where my brand is very interesting. And I am working to actually divide out my brands B2C and B2B.
Got it. Wait, just for the audience, that means business to business, business to consumer.
Correct. Because Redefining Mom, which is my main site, which is where all of my Pinterest stuff does live as well. Redefining Mom is a working mom blog. That's how it was founded.
Got it.
It gives tips to working moms. A lot of my working moms want to get out of corporate, but they still want to work, and they want to figure out how to repurpose their skills in a more flexible manner. And that's a very consumer-based audience. The Pinterest stuff, when I talk about Pinterest ads, is definitely I'm talking to another business. So I'm working to spin that. I just filed the trademark for another brand to spin that off.
Got it.
Into another brand.
Okay. So these email lists then stay separate.
So the interesting part where I feel like I can be a little bit of a unicorn, but also I think it's something that other people might benefit from, might open up your mind a little bit. I have a decent success rate at moving people who come in on the mom side of my email list over to the business side.
That's terrific. Well, because you've got working moms, they're looking for new opportunities. They're used to hustling. They have like a business mindset.
Exactly.
So I could see how that would work.
And actually, the way I nurture my email list through weekly emails is I actually connect to the moms through a lot of mom stories and what's going on with balancing my business, having a baby, all of that stuff. That's how I connect with people. And then I do a recap at the end of my emails, which is very focused on the different things I'm doing with Pinterest, with blogging, with affiliates, and stuff like that. So I've meshed the two very well.
Right.
And so even though I filed the trademark for another brand, I'm going to be very careful. They play off of each other, the names, and I'm going to be very careful in how I move forward with nurturing, because there is still a lot of synergy I get between the moms and the business side.
Totally. I mean, when we were connecting before we pressed record, what were we talking about? Being moms and babies and sleeping and all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, we switched gears and now we're talking about business. So I see that as this, like, we bond, you and me, over what it's like to be a mom. And then because we have this connection, then we're like-minded and we can talk Pinterest ads.
Exactly.
Like, it's not as crazy as it seems.
It's not. And I think a lot of times I do like to go against traditional marketing advice, because if I had listened to all the gurus when I started, they would have told me absolutely not. I can't do this. I have to stick with the working mom stuff. And I would have missed a huge opportunity for something that I'm really good at. Especially if I had said, I can't do this unless I divide out my brands right now.
Right.
I would have diverted my attention, and I wouldn't have had the time to really figure out what I've figured out on my own. And I actually do get a lot of, now that the course is pretty popular, I get men who email me. I get very mixed opinions from men. I have men that are like, I don't know. I've had men say basically, I don't know if I should buy because you have a mom brand. And I'm like, well, if a dad had a skill that I wanted to learn, a dad brand wouldn't stop me from buying it. And I'm not going to change my whole brand because someone thinks that.
Right.
I have other men who come and say, this is amazing. I'm so glad I found you. I'm so glad that, I didn't let the mom side of it stop me. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like sometimes I look around and I think some of the best brands are found in ways that are just very non-traditional. And I
Right.
kind of feel like I'm a very non-traditional brand.
But there's something very authentic about it. Now, could we talk before, because we're winding down, but could we talk about this idea of using Pinterest ads to drive page views?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of the strategy in and of itself to just drive page views. The question really isn't, should I use promoted pins? Promoted pins to drive page views, but rather, why do I want to drive page views?
Okay.
That's the question you want to ask, because I'm very, very, very prescriptive on this in my course with getting people to understand their strategy before promoting. But I'll still get a few students that come to me, they ran an ad, and they'll come and say, well, how do I know if this was successful? And they'll give me their stats, and I'll say, well, what was your objective? Why did you want those page views? Well, how were those page views serving you? And often I get blank stares when I ask that question. And so then I throw them back to the module 2 in my course, which is, why did you promote the pin to begin with?
Right.
So it's not a matter of, am I using ads to increase my page views? It's, what are you doing with the page views?
Right. So let's say, for example, I do a promoted post with brand X, and I want brand X to see that this post got a lot of page views, right? That people saw it. So in that respect, I'm being paid by the brand. It's probably worth it for me to put some money behind this pin so that I can get more eyeballs on my pin.
Correct. The two caveats I give in my course for page views are, I'm not totally against the first one, which is if you have solid advertising income that you like, if you can relate the ROI from your Pinterest traffic to your advertising, like meaning you have ads on your site and you have a high RPM and all that stuff, that's not necessarily a bad strategy if it works for you. And the second one is sponsored posts.
Right.
When you can work with a brand, especially the first time, and show them, hey, look at all of the, look how well this did, and you put ad spend behind it, I'm totally okay with that as well.
Yep. And I would say in the first one, do the math, meaning look at how much money you are generating in ads, in your own ads on your blog, let's say, and really make sure it makes sense to be putting money behind promoting that pin, which will drive traffic to that blog post. Because sometimes I would say it's very easy to get upside down, which means you're spending more money than you're making.
And the reason I don't focus very heavily on only driving page views is because even if you're driving it for your advertising income, okay, that you can view it as like a double dip. All right, I am getting ad revenue from this, but also I'm getting them on my email list.
Right. So make sure there is some other value add, not just I want page views for page views' sake.
Right. Exactly.
But again, like you were saying, I'm controlling their journey.
You are. And in some cases, when you get really good at this, and I do this now, I know I can, we alluded to it earlier with feeding visitors to our Pinterest tag and our Facebook pixel.
Right.
You can get very low cost per clicks on Pinterest. And so if you have a funnel that you know works but they need to warm up to you first, then page views can be very strategic if you're using them the right way in the overall marketing funnel that you have set up.
Right.
Yes, for sure.
Because again, you kind of, if they're clicking on your blog or your landing page, you now have kind of captured them into your universe, and that you can then retarget them, whether it be on Facebook or Pinterest or someplace like that.
Right, exactly.
So that click can be valuable to you.
Yeah, and I just had a student ask me, she set up a whole nurturing sequence with Facebook ads. So someone comes to a page and it triggers the pixel to then serve them the next level ad. And like, it's basically they're stacking their Facebook ads. If you take this action, you get served the next ad.
Right.
And
so again, you're sending them on a journey with ads.
Yes. So she has this whole system set up for her Facebook ads. And she came to me in the course Facebook group for Promoted Pins and said, do you think it's worth it if I drive page views from Pinterest to feed the Facebook pixel to kick them off? And I said, well, if you can get the low, and when I say low cost per click, I want to see 10 cents or below. Like your floor bid on Pinterest is 10 cents. So you bid the floor, try to drive it below that. So it's going to be heavily reliant on how you target. And then what you have to pay close attention to is how is the Facebook funnel producing, how is it converting for you? Because that's really going to be the telling point here if you should ramp up your promoted pins or not.
On Pinterest.
Right.
Got it. So again, dig into the analytics, which can be difficult, but is totally where you need to be spending your energy to know whether what you're trying is working.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, Monica, I'm going to please invite you back for a part 2 because I feel like we can do multiple episodes on this, but please tell everybody how they can find out about you, and we'll have links in our show notes and everything to you, but how can people find out about you, find out about your courses, find out about your products, that kind of thing?
So everything is under the same umbrella right now, which is redefiningmom.com. The Pinterest ads course is called Pin Practical Promotions, which Jillian will link to in the show notes. And then also,
say it slower. Pin Practical Promotions.
Pin Practical Promotions, correct.
Okay. Just so people can, yes.
Yeah, for sure. And that's not open all the time because I do control the amount of students I get on influxes because I am very active in the community and answering people's questions. So I have to make sure that it's a little bit of a controlled environment. But what I do offer is a free course, which is very meaty. It's called Pin Practical Ads.
Okay.
You can get that at redefiningmom.com/ads, just ADS. Okay. And that's a great way to get started.
Oh, wow. Monica, you are just such a wealth of information. I'm like, you've got my mind is thinking in all these different ways. And I am just so excited hearing you. And you've given me so much to think about.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited to come back and talk about this. I do love to talk about this topic.
Okay, good. Because there are already like different offshoots that I'm like, oh, we should get into this or we should get into this. So yes, please, I will have you back if you will do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I hope you guys liked this episode. If you did, please head to iTunes right now and rate us. It helps other people find the show. And it helps me get more great guests like Monica. Okay, I will see you here again next week.